Hello YouTube viewers, welcome to my channel Science to Technology. In today's show, Future Friday, we're going to talk about the Kardashev scale. So let's dive deep into it. Now, first you have to understand, why the heck do we need a scale that measures civilizations? Well, reality is that universe is huge. The better tools we build, better observatories we build, the more observatory we build, the more research we did, we kind of realize universe is freaking huge, meaning it's huge. How huge we are talking about? Well, basically, do not try to calculate it. To give you a context, one Google means 100 zeros. If you have light year after that, like 100 light year, that is still small scale, like bonkers. And that's why we have the saying of observable universe, because it's like it's beyond our wildest dream. Like it's so huge, the only word that can describe it is stupid. Like do not try to quantify it. It's just don't, just nope it. Now, how old is this? Well, how do we calculate the old part? Well, we observed vectors, meaning we are now observing a puppy here, then this puppy moved. I'm like, okay, we captured the photograph, and year over year, we figured it out that it's moving, and it has a velocity. Okay, then we looked at the other side. Okay, we have a velocity. Then we looked whole sky, and then every object in our celestial background, quote unquote, is moving. So we figured out velocity. Now we also have, because over time we did this research, we figured out their vectors, basically which direction they were heading. So we did the calculation in reverse. Like if we know here, know here, know here, okay, what if you run the clock backwards? You have the velocity, you run it backwards, and boom, Big Bang. So that puppy happened in 13.7 billion years ago. How far back is that? Let's count. 1, 3, 7, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0 years. And we humans barely have lifespan that touches this first digit, as in like 100 years. So a lot of numbers left still, like stupendously large amount of number left. So that creates a paradox. Where the heck is everyone? That's the only question that we have. Like every astronomer that is working with this sort of data set is like, where the hell is everyone? So this meme becomes a reality. We have tried to create equations known as Drake equation to figure out what should be the probability of that. Now, biggest issue is that we do not know the variables basically at true value, because the only way to know the true value is to actually scan the whole universe, which we cannot do that. So this is the best. We put the best guesstimated value, and outcome was, where is everyone? Because it should be there. It should be there. Like there is no calculation. There is no like, maybe, maybe not. No, it should be there. So that's the question. So we started to dive deep into this extraterrestrial research, and SETI was founded. And before this happened, be mindful, this cosmology is surprisingly ancient research and development. So as in like 1940s, 1930s, like we were on it as early as possible. So we figured out we had to start looking for them aliens. Where is this aliens? And as our civilization grew, let that sink in, as our civilization grew, we became wiser. Now, if you watch any science fiction, most of the science fiction are written by dum-dums. And I mean even the science fiction I like, flat out, many times, like especially let's say Avatar. Like they have a laser array that, propels those spaceships. The laser array's power requirement is petawatts of power. We do not reach that scale yet. And they are saying that Earth is dying. It's like, dude, that's not how it works. If you have that much energy, there is no problem there on this universe that you cannot solve. So there is only two factors that matters. One is time, which is uncontrollable. We do not have control over it. And even if somehow, some magically, you can have the ability to go back and forth in time, you are going back and forth. The universe time clock is always going forward. So it's uncontrollable factor. So we don't think about it. The only factor that matters is energy. For example, Star Trek. I like Star Trek, but they have always had this stupidity where it's like Kardashians is gonna, yes, they had a Kardashian. Kardashian is gonna strip mine the planet. I'm like, strip mine the planet. It's like, once I understood the cosmology, even a basic surface level, I'm like, dude, that's stupid. Like you take solar system, you take every solar system that we have observed with every observatory that we have active right now. Outcome is, that's the most stupidest thing ever. Why? Asteroid belt. Each generally star has an active asteroid belt. Now, of course, the density, the amount of material, that would be different. But generally, asteroid belts always have more than planets, always, and it's much easier to collect. So why the heck will you strip mine a planet? That's so wasteful. But again, the writers did not knew this well enough to understand it, put it in context, and they're like, it makes sense. So it's one of those things that energy and time is the only vectors. And energy, because again, it's a controllable vector, so we focused on that. So we needed a scale to quantify it, because right now we have observatories that are collecting data like this puppy, and we have this data. Let's say we observe two signals. How would you quantify it? Like, where should they lie? Like this alien civilization that you are observing, where should they lie? Like their signal strength itself will give you a lot of data, because again, energy is very interesting key. Why? Because it's the greatest indicator of everything, flat out. Like you may say, let's say you received an alien signal, okay, and you decoded the signal, and signal said, I'm wasting too much printer, I'm wasting too much prints. What does that mean? That simply means that civilization is ahead enough to A, build a printer, B, have enough surplus that they can you know do it a wasteful things with. B, they figured out liquids, they figured out inks, they figured out paper. Just with that, just with the fact that they said they are wasting something. It's one of those things with food also. If humanity as a civilization is wasting food, that simply means we are mass producing it, simply means we are overproducing it. We will not waste it if we do not have it. Of course, there is a distribution issue, but you do not have the luxury of wasting something if you are not making it. You only get the luxury if you are making it. For example, let's say this puppy is wasting energy. Let's say Europeans are wasting a lot of energy. That fundamentally means they know how to make a lot of energy. So it's one of the greatest indicator that we have, known to science, known to current understanding of humanity, is that's how you figure things out. Like, energy is the key. We do not control time, so energy becomes the core vector. So energy is the key. That's what we are looking for. We are looking for energy signature. That's the context. That's why energy matters here. So then we come to Kardashev scale. Now this puppy is huge. Basically, whenever you look about scale like this puppy, this is huge. This is bonkersly huge. The scale of it is too stupid. And it is also that scale itself is not that big of a deal. Problem is it's also low resolution, meaning one of my favorite YouTuber, and I urge you to write it down, who is that YouTuber, most likely you guys have seen it, is that he said that this puppy, like the first is a basically milkshake kind of jug. Awesome. Then this is swimming pool. Milkshake to swimming pool, basically a jug to a swimming pool. This puppy is Earth's ocean. So you figured out the liters variable is too high. It's basically like, where would you put someone who's in a bathtub? Where would you put it? It's like there is no middle ground here. So basically, whenever we make a scale, we work our ass off to put delineation there. Basically, you have centimeter and millimeters there. This has nothing. So this is from Kardashev, basically that gentleman. Now, it is not his intention to make this as ubiquitous as it is right now. It was more of like, we simplify things. For example, if I'm talking about stars, many times people simplify stars as like, you have red dwarf, you have yellow stars, and then you have blue giants. We simplify it. Does not mean that's exactly how it is. It's more of a simplification, just to convey some rough ideas, some basic ideas. So problem with that, this Kardashev scale, he knew that, but he created that scale just for like rough estimating. But this caught on. So unfortunately, the sloppy mathematics of this, basically just scaling up too much, got stuck with us. Now, then come the Carl Sagan. Now, nowadays, whenever you look into this number, you will always find a derivation, mathematical formula describing it. For example, type 1, that means 10, 16 zeros of watts of power. Then you have type 2, 10, 26 zeros watt of power. Then you have type 3, 10, 36 zero watt of power. Now, you must have noticed something. They are always at units of 10. 16, 26, 36. Now, this is the mathematical work of Carl Sagan, and he simplified the scale with delineation, basically. So now you can truly put humanity somewhere. Now you can put something that is like, going from here to basically type 2. Basically, if you look at expanse, where would you put expanse? Expanse technically exceeds type 1, but it does not go to type 2. So where would you put it? Again, now you have a mathematical variation. You collect the data set of all the reactors they are using, all the solar farms they have, and all that. So that will allow you to put them somewhere, and you can have proper mathematical zeros. Basically, from 16 zero they went to 18 zero, so that's 0.2. So they are like type 1.2 civilization. So that's the work of this genius. So level 1 planet. What does that mean? That simply means the amount of energy sun is dumping on that puppy. Either you are making out of your own nuclear reactor or magical reactors, or you are just collecting, harnessing all of the solar power. Now, do we do that? Yes. Now, like, we do not collect that much solar. Well, here's the deal. Every form of energy on Earth is solar or Big Bang. So unless you are talking about nuclear, it's coming from, that energy is coming from Big Bang. Everything else is coming from solar. Like, you're burning coal, where that energy came from? It came from plants. So that's solar. Wind, where did that wind movement came from? Solar. everything goes to solar. That's why. And on top of that, just our raw energy requirement is not the key, because again, we need food to survive. Food takes a lot of energy to make. Where does that energy comes from? It comes from the sun. That's why we are 0.7. You may be like, hey, I calculated the solar output is very little than this. That's not how it's calculated. It's calculated for a civilization scale. So every cow, every donkey, every chicken, every doggy that we are dealing with counts there. And not to mention, the greenery of this planet is consuming a lot of energy, and that's by design. So we are at 0.7 here. Now that's level 1. You've taken care of the whole the energy that planet is getting. Then we come to level 2, star. Now here's the deal. You may be like, hey, I have already collected all the solar energy that is falling on the planet. Doesn't that mean like sun is like not, we are already collecting enough? Not really, because from your vantage point of view, you are only observing a very small patch on the sun itself. Basically, take a diameter, put that diameter, make a circle of that, and put that circle on the surface of the sun. It's so tiny you will not be able to see it, like very, very idiotically tiny. So sun dumps a lot of energy. Where does that energy go? Everywhere where you are not using it. So idea is that you're gonna have a Dyson swarm, not a sphere. Sphere is a like misinterpretation of that science. You cannot build a swarm. Basically sphere, you have to build a swarm. So meaning you're gonna have solar collectors that are converting energy into something. It may be converting into microwave, so you can transmit it. It may be converting into antimatter, so you can transmit or transport it, whatever have you. But you're gonna collect all the energy, and you're gonna have so many of these basically solar satellites that from a far out distance, let's say somebody did this in Alpha Centauri, we're not gonna be able to see light from Alpha Centauri. Alpha Centauri would be completely blotted out. It's like, nope. But what will we see? Again, waste heat. So we'll see star. We will calculate its mass. How the heck we can calculate it? Gravitational lensing still would be there. The mass is still there. So we will be able to calculate the mass of it, and we'll figure out this mass should have this sort of energy, and we're gonna only see infrared waste heat of that. So that's how we'll put that there is a sphere around it that is absorbing the energy. That's where, this is why people say, Dyson sphere. That does not make sense. You can only make a swarm. Again, a swarm in one satellite will not cover this basically star. You're gonna have thousands and thousands and thousands of them in orbital shell going all around. Basically, exactly like how we have satellites on Earth right now, only million times more. And Earth, basically sun has such a large diameter that you can put way too many there, like way too many there. So that's the level 2. And the level 3 is you do the same thing to every star. Now be mindful, galaxies are surprisingly robust in terms of their mathematical distribution, like roughly speaking. So galaxies do not deviate that much. Like galaxies are like, yeah, this much or to this much. Stars are bonkers. They go from teeny tiny stars that are like almost the same size of Jupiter, like of course a bit bigger than that, but you get the point, like very, very small, to idiotically huge one that literally can have orbit of Pluto inside them. So the stars have surprisingly large amount of deviation, while galaxies do not have that. But you get the point, like that's the, if you are playing at that level playing field, then you are level 3, the daddy layer. Now some people have stretched it up to level 4, where or some may have level omega, when you're collecting the whole universe. It's like stretched too far. That's stretched too far. Why? Because if there was something that is level 4, we'll know it. Like the whole universe will know it. That's the level 4, because again, same way we can notice the background radiation, we will notice their signature. Level 4 is not something that you can miss. Level 3 you can. Now, like, how the heck you can miss a galaxy? Before Hubble telescope, we did not see that many galaxies. So, as in like where you can actually observe it, figure out industrial signature and all that jazz, we did not have that much data. And even now, even with basically James Webb Space Telescope, we have only few of those caliber of observatory. We need millions of it. So level 3 still can hide from us, especially if it's far away. Let's say 50,000 light years. Yeah, good luck. Unless we have like a dedicated observatory directly observing it. Not even 50,000, why I'm saying 50 million light years. 50 million light years. So that's the scale part of it. So why do we focus on this sort of scale? And you must have noticed that nowadays people talk about like we are moving towards level 1 civilization. Well, problem with humanity is that we are too goddamn smart. Like we are really freaking smart. Now, the thing that makes us smart also makes us very competitive, aggressive, and very expansionist. Basically, I'm not an individual who wants 1. I'm an individual who wants 2. Now, there would be another individual like, I don't want 2, I want 4. There would be another who want like, I want 8. Somebody would be like, I want 16. Somebody would be like 32. You get the point. Like we expand ourselves. And the sole reason humans are so powerful right now on this ecosystem is simply because we started to fight amongst ourselves. Basically, we exceeded the capacity of natural selection. That's why all other species have a limited sort of intelligence. They were never fighting among themselves. Of course, territorial fight is a different thing. We started building boom boom devices, and then we went boom boom to each other. That's how we turbocharged ourselves. Exactly like how we are training AIs. When you have AI and then you have anti-AI, they're going against each other. I always keep forgetting that exact word that starts with A. That antagonistic AI is, I think, that you keep competing against, and then both of them improve. The same thing is happening with humans. So the thing that makes us smart, capable, is one of those things that will never rest. It's like, never ending. Like no amount of thing is enough. Basically, I have a car, that's no longer enough. The moment I get a car, I want another car. The moment I have a printer, I want another printer. So it's one of those things. And all the problems, what were all the problems? Well, our history shows that any problem that we face, we will solve it eventually. For example, back in the old days of 1600, you may have looked into some cities, 1600, 1800s, you get the point, of like, let's say, Great Britain. It was garbage. Like, I'm not even joking. They are talking about that. It's like, it was garbage. Like, it was soot everywhere. Such a bad sanitation, that whole Thames River. It was a sewage. And diseases, let's not even talk about that. Death, let's not talk about that. Crime, let's not talk about that. Basically, it was called as the meat grinder, meaning thousands of people were dying per day. Now you're like, wait a minute, then why the heck population did not disappear? Again, thousands of people were pouring into it also. So it was bonkers amount of time. And that was for years. It was not like, oh, 1 day or 2 days. No, 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 no. That's how things were going for years, sometimes even decades. But we solved it brick by brick. We solved it. And same goes with India. Like when India got its independence, we had very poor everything, basically food, water, everything, very poor. And like, if that time, if the India just after independence, as in 75 years ago, if you would have told to any Indian that India will somehow have enough horsepower, enough oomph to feed more than 1 billion people, they were like, bro, please give me your ganja, man. I want that ganja. That ganja is a Hindi translation of weed. So we want that. So, but again, we did that. So our history proves that any problem that we face, we will solve it. It will just take time. Other than that, there is nothing. What about global warming? Absolutely solved issue. It's all like already solved in lab level. We are already deploying the tools. It's gonna take time. Basically, same way we messed up over time, we're gonna fix it over time. So there is nothing. Now, what does that mean? That simply means everything that is unconquerable now becomes boring. For example, Mount Everest, damn daddy's, level of objectives. Like, whoa. Now nobody cares. There is a freaking traffic jam in Mount Everest. It's so boring for us. Like, that's the whole level of magnitude of our intelligence. For example, rocket landing. Whoa. Now it's boring. That's the whole thing. We are so goddamn good. Like, I do not even give a damn about the fact that my computer has a GPU in it. That GPU has 12 gigabyte of RAM into it, and my first computer only had 4 gigabytes of RAM. Let that sink in. So I don't. It's like, it's boring now. It's like, who cares? Like, if I ever actually calculated the amount of teraflops my current computer can do, it's too many zeros are there. But I don't even care. It's boring. I did not bought a Threadripper. So anything that is conquerable becomes boring after a while. And we need space, because again, the mentality that made us it needs more. It needs more. It needs even more. Thankfully, there is a solution to that. There is a lot of space in space. Like, do not worry about space. Meaning, even if humanity multiplied on an exponential curve, basically not going linear, going YOLO, space would be like, you're doing something? Tell me when you are big. Like, literally, that's why I specified. Universe is so freaking huge. It's like nothing, just nothing. So there's a lot of space in space. And it's also a filter for us. Like, I like the TV show. Again, this also had the dumb aspects of it, but it was surprisingly good in representation of like how human cultures work. Like, they had the idea Earth was overpopulated. Okay. And then people went to Mars. Now here's the deal. Martian technology was much better than Earthen technology. Now it does not make sense how the heck Earth, which has a larger population, while Mars, which has much smaller population, how the heck they build better technology? The answer was very simple, because the people who went to Mars, they were different kind of people. Meaning, there were people who were like, I don't want the easy life, I want to do something. Basically, they were the doers kind. They were the hard working type. Basically, they will grind down hell just to make a living. And they did that. And benefit was Martian, even with a smaller population, even with smaller, basically non-habitable planet, they built much more amazing technology. So it kind of makes sense. And like same will happen on humanity, on Earth also, because once we truly start to go outside, it would be hell. Like Mars is not a comfortable place, it's hell. But here's the deal, there are different kind of people amongst us that need this hell to really, open their wings. Their wings will only come out if there is a true hell, and not boring hell where it's like, oh, we have poor people. No, those sort of hell, they will like, their wings will not come out. Put them on Mars, they're like, I'm gonna terraform this bitch. So it's a filter for us. Basically, dumb will stay, smart will go, and then this will become the dumb spot. Then even more smarter people. And then the final dumb spot would be the solar system itself. Then all the smartest one will go to Alpha Centauri. So that's the aspect of it. That's why we need this. So question is, can we actually do it? Well, right now, looking at humanity, and I'm a student of psychology, sociology, and philosophy, looking at our current situation, so to say, in year 2023, I've noticed that our vision is becoming very blurry, clouded. And there is a problem with power, that without sight, it's freaking useless. Meaning, imagine this way, like you are JJ, you're super duper strong, but you are fighting against an individual that's not that powerful, but it's fast. You did. So same thing, without sight, we are useless, and we have lost these puppies. Basically, we cannot see anymore. And we have started to hate ourselves. I have seen so many comments like, oh, human is this, human is that. It's like, dude, why do you hate ourselves this much? It's like, we are awesome. We are amazing. And here's the deal. All the damage that we are doing to planet Earth, here's the deal. From Earth's point of view, Earth's like the Gaia's point of view, that's bitch please. That's like, it won't even register. It's like, bro, all the pollution we did, one supermassive volcano is like, bro, you have few zeros remaining. Please add a few more zeros, only then come to us. And Earth has reached to a point of mass extinction so many times, it's boring. Like, we do not even come close to it. That's why, like, wise people, when they talk about like humanity causing harm, it's like we are causing harm to ourselves, not to the Gaia. Gaia is like, bro, you came, you went, who cares? So that's the context of it. That hate rate of ourselves is like, first it exaggerates our ego too much, where it's like we are actually that kind of powerful. We are not that powerful yet. And like, our influence is like, oh, we have like control. No. And then this creates a very serious feedback loop where people are seen as a burden rather than a resource. And that's why I specified, whenever you create a hatred of a population, over time you always create a hatred of people itself. Every culture that was like overpopulation, consequence was people started to hate themselves. Now this is a very new phenomenon, because this is the first time in humanity we have pushed that away from children. Back in the days, you had to had 8 to 10 kids. That was normal. Why? The woman did not, poofed. So you had to have that. Then only you had some shot of surviving. And only 2 or 3 will survive. That's how we survived for thousands of years. But in last 2 centuries, we became so good that we pushed death away. Be it vaccines, be it better sanitation, be it better living styles, better education, better everything. We pushed death away. Somehow we did that, and we started to hate ourselves also at the same time. It's like, bro, what the hell? So we are seeing people as burden. It's like, oh, people is gonna do this. It's like, what the hell? So we are not seeing people as resources. It's like, dude, how the heck India can feed 1 billion people? We are feeding it, because here's the deal. If we are all starving, it's like, oh, India is starving. No, we will be poofed out of existence if you are starving. You cannot starve. Oh, I have been starving for 35 years. You only starve for 3 months and then you go poof. So 3 months. And if India is 1 billion people for decade, yeah, we are not starving. Of course, the problem is like the lower class people are barely getting 1 meal a day. A bit above that is like barely 2 meals a day. Upper class is like 6 meals a day. So we do have some distribution issues, but again, compared to everywhere else, we are golden, bro. We are just like gold. So we are not seeing people as like, tools to solve issues. We are seeing people as burden, and that it's a very, very self-hatred kind of scenario. Because desires for star right now, like whatever you desire is seen as evil, rather than, oh, desire, good, motivation, good. How about you just guide yourself with ethics? Back, that was the old wisdom. It's like, hey, I wanted to be rich. We were like, whoa, good job, good focus, but do be ethical, be wise, be mindful. Like, that's how people used to guide them. Now it's like, oh, you are so greedy. It's like, what the hell? What the hell happened? Like, desire for star. Like, if you was like, I want to go to, moon. Now people will like, oh, don't you see starving children in Africa? It's like, what the hell just happened? That's the whole thing. The desire itself is looked as evil. It's not evil. It's the very reason we are so powerful. So, and then we come to the actual tragic aspect of humanity's progress, is that stupidity of few can destroy way too many. Like, that's another side, meaning you can have one dictator, one violent individual, one brain damaged individual who can create an ideology that will never die and somehow will always keep coming back and somehow cause so much bloodbath that world wars look, world war, such a peaceful time. I'm not even joking about that. Please tell me what I'm talking about. So that is a serious side effect of our power. But it's still stupidity of few. It's still not like, oh, entire humanity is stupid. It's still stupidity of few. Now, all things considered, all the data set that I have available right now in 2023, it shows us certain factors. Certain factor is there is nothing stopping us, meaning there is no alien that is coming down. It's like, bro, you shall not leave this earth. Earth is your prison. You have to stay here. You have to die here. No, there is nothing as of now, as of me making this video, that is limiting us from outside. There is no outside influence. Our gravitational well, that is like 9.8 meter per squared, that's also not that powerful. We got the rockets. We got it. We can actually go places. So there is nothing that is truly, stopping us externally. That's awesome. Another aspect, history says that we're gonna suffer. That's absolute. Do not even worry about that. That's like, oh, I want low suffering. You can reduce suffering, but you can never make it zero. Do not even try to. Every time people try to make it zero, it amplifies the suffering. So we will suffer, but we'll survive and we'll thrive. So this sort of image kind of describes humanity very well, where it's like hard times create strong men, awesome. Strong men creates good times, super awesome. Good times create weak men, bad. And then you have weak men creates hard times, super bad. But here's the deal, it loops back again. Like that hard time will remove every weak one and then strong one will survive. And it does not mean physically, it also means intellectually. It also means basically philosophy wise. Basically it also means economic standards wise. Basically if you have a dumb standard that's like, oh, we're going to distribute everything for free and then everybody dies, of course good times will come back, capitalism will come back. It's not the best thing, but again, compared to nature's system, yeah, much better. And again, I do hope in future that we have something even better. That's what the hope is. So this is the best aim as of humanity as of now, because right now many times people are like so focused on such small things. It's like, oh, we have this starvation, this, and the reason I'm calling it small is simply because Neil deGrasse Tyson put it very well. It's like when we were in caves, when we were cave dwelling cavemen, so to say, we had issues in cave. Absolutely we had issues. But here's the deal, somebody took a gamble where it's like, instead of being in the cave, how about I go outside? How about venture outside? How about I stay outside, I do not come home? How about I do that? And look at us right now. And the same goes with our future also. Meaning the people who will go to Mars, the people who will go to Moon, they will pull entirety of humanity. And everyone who's like, oh, we have so starving children in this and that and all that, they will be stuck here. Because I specified, like, humanity have like two categories inside them. One is like, just barely surviving, and another that have wings. Consequence of those wings are not on command. They need challenge. They need to be pushed. And again, every time we push them, everyone else's life gets better. So it's in our best interest to push them. If they are like, hey, I want to go to Mars, they're like, go. Like, you will solve so many problems by accident. That would be awesome. So it is an amazing target for us, that humanity, where is humanity going? Humanity is going for Kardashev. That will be a really good uniting experience for us. And to push us beyond our natural constraint. And we have done this. Be mindful, we have done this. How do we have done this? The first time we did this was fire. Why fire? Because if you look at great apes, you will notice this part is huge. Why this huge? Because we could not digest food very efficiently. But then why ours are small? Because again, fire. We broke long molecules into small molecules. Small molecule, our tummy is like, we got it. Less energy required to chew it, less energy required to digest it. Consequence, GG amount of power. Where did that power go? That's how it works. So that's how we turbocharged our natural constraint. That's how, like, we had great apes. Great apes had multiple siblings, not sibling. Yeah, you can say from our point of view, they were probably siblings or cousins. And we all raced, but humanity figured out fire. That was our step one. Then we had another step of writing the written language. Now, why that's an awesome step? It turbocharged our knowledge. Our knowledge actually started to become multi-generation, meaning we actually started to beat death. Then you had final step, fighting amongst ourselves. I used to hate this idea, but then I had to realize that's exactly how we are making AI smarter. So we had to do this. We had to reach a point where we are the only kings of our town. We have the only, gunslingers, so to say, and then we had to fight. Let the best man win. So this is exactly how we broke the natural constraint. That's why we are so powerful. That's why even the species that have bigger brain than us, like be it elephant, be it whales, they do not have a Saturn V or dreams of going to the moon. They are limited by natural constraint. And we can do whatever we want because we left the cave. That's the whole aspect. We left the cave. We have to leave this earth also. And when we go to another place, we have to leave that also, simply because it's a forever expanding horizon. We are always expanding, and that's desirable. That's awesome. That's what we are striving for. So this was my presentation on Kardashev scale and why it's important to humans. Hopefully you have liked it, learned from it. In that case, please click the like button, share it amongst your friends. That will help me a lot. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I urge you to press dislike, press it twice to show me extra support. Please leave a comment because I do try to reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free, and as always, thanks for watching.